All right, thank you very much, Christy. We're standing by now with a couple gentlemen we need to pass some congratulations on. The statute of limitations has not run out on a tremendous season from UNC Wilmington. Kevin Keatts, Chris Flemmings with us, the gentleman who helped the conference get represented in fine fashion in the NCAA tournament. So I send congratulations to both of you on a marvelous season. Before we look ahead to this season, I got to go back to last year. And I'll start with Chris first. What kind of stood out in your mind last year about the run through the conference tournament and into the NCAA tournament?
Just our determination. We worked hard every game, every practice, and gave it everything we had and stuck together.
What did you see out of it, Kevin? How this team evolved as the season went on?
Well, we grew as a program. I think it showed the country when we played Duke that certainly that our program had gotten better, but it also talked about our conference a lot. When you talk about our conference finishing 9th overall, I think that the world got a chance to see how good CAA basketball is.
Now, we should remind people that Kevin is just entering his 3rd season as the head coach at UNC Wilmington, so you accomplished quite a bit in 2 seasons to get the Seahawks into the tournament last year. Yeah,
it was fun, and what happened is, when you take over a program in year 1, you want to try to put your program in. And certainly those guys that were on the team, they bought into what we were trying to teach them, and we won 18 games. And, for us to come back the next year and win 25 games and win the regular season and conference tournament, that meant a lot. And I thought we took a big jump in the program last year.
It certainly helps with Chris averaging over 16 points a game, first-team All-CAA selection. And as the preseason poll comes out, you guys are listed at the top. Chris, is it fun being the team that's now being hunted by everybody?
I definitely think it's fun. It's a great motivation to try to stay there all year, taking no days off, practice, games, anything. So it's always great.
How do you look to improve what you did last year? Where do you want to see your game evolve?
Just working on my defense constantly and becoming more of a leader vocally on and off the court as well.
Now, Chris is one of the 3 starters that return. Denzel Ingram, C.J. Bryce is also coming back. Where are you looking for other contributions beyond those 3 I just mentioned?
Well, that's a great question, and I've said this all along. In order for us to have success this year, I think that freshman class, who are now sophomores this year, have to have a great year. I think a young man that has taken a big step for us is Devontae Kaycock. He's changed his body. He's playing very good basketball. C.J. Bryce, who was all rookie team, as we just talked about, has had one of the best summers of anybody that I've had. So I think if you add those 2 guys in with Denzel and also Chris, then I think we have a chance to be really good this year.
Devontae, I remember, really came on down the stretch and had some really key moments for you guys through the tournament, didn't he?
Yeah, he definitely did. He plays hard every single possession. I just love the energy he plays with.
We all want to, look ahead, but how much value did last year have for this team in terms of the confidence that you can come in with, the overall feeling to know you are among the best?
Confidence is definitely there from a standpoint of you might have off nights, but knowing that how good you can be on any given night is definitely good to keep going.
Does that confidence, can you see that carry over in what you've seen so far this season, Kevin?
Well, we've got leadership, and that's important to me because, when you're building a program and you've got some guys that's returning that has some experience playing in NCAA, it can go a long ways for you. And with our guys, you can see that they believe in each other.
Do you ever have to remind them that was last year?
Well, we got a rule now that after this media day, we will no longer be able to talk about last year. We got to concentrate on what's happening this year.
Good. Well, we're glad to have this day to enjoy. I mentioned to you before we came on the air, and we thank everyone for joining us here on ESPN3. And also, you can get involved in the conversation on Twitter for the CAA basketball, and hashtag CAA Hoops, and you can use hashtag CAA Hoops for pretty much all of the social media to get involved in everything we're doing today. But I mentioned to you, 2 gentlemen, before we kind of started, I haven't been down to Trask in quite a long time. And I remember the first time I walked in that place, it was hot and humid and sticky. That's become a real home court advantage, hasn't it?
Well, you know what? I love Trask. When you look at us, you know, the arena hosts 5,100, and we've been for the last couple of years, we've led the CAA in attendance. And, you know, I think we're building something really special there. We love our home crowd. The community's getting back involved. Our students have been great, and you have to come back, and, you know, you'll love what you see there.
Chris, do you ever notice late in that second half, maybe some of the teams have come up from up north where it's about 20 degrees, kind of going, they're not ready for that humidity down there?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something you have to adjust to, and then having to chase us around all game too.
What about the sense of, we know how North Carolina is such a great basketball state. It must have been great for you guys to really put Wilmington on that map with so many other great schools within the state.
Well, it's a special state. You know, when you look at North Carolina, and you know, everybody thinks about North Carolina, UNC, and they think about Duke, but it's great basketball throughout the state, and you know, we were glad to represent our state by playing in the NCAA, but it's a tremendous fan base. You know, a lot of our fans are NC State or Duke or Carolina fans, and you know, it's beautiful basketball down that way.
What kind of feedback did you get last season from friends, family, things like that?
It was just great. The fans definitely happy to have their support. They came out pretty much every game. They're excited to have UNCW basketball back for sure. And definitely a lot of people who didn't know about UNCW before that definitely know about it now.
And we had to massage a couple things because Chris's mom now, she's a big Duke fan.
Ooh.
And, you know, we had to make sure that before we gave her tickets to the game that she was going to be on UNCW's side.
Before I let you go, and I know you're saying today we don't talk about it anymore, but do you kind of go over that Duke game? Because you guys gave them everything and were right there at the very end.
I really don't go over it anymore. I pretty much moved past it and looking forward to the season.
Good. Create your own stamp again this season, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, it was a great game. We enjoyed it. I think I watched the CAA tournament about 2 weeks ago and the Duke game, and only because I wanted to prepare for the things we need to work on for this season.
Well, last year was a terrific season. The CAA preseason poll says it's going to be another good one for UNC Wilmington. Kevin Keatts, Chris Flemmings, thank you so much, gentlemen, and good luck this season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's certainly success on the women's side, Christy, you know that. Let's go now to Christy Winter-Scott.
Thanks, Al. We're here with the women's team. We have head coach Adell Harris along with senior Amber Reeves. And coach, last season you ended the year with only 6 healthy players on the court, and just thinking about that makes me cringe.
It makes me cringe too, Christy.
Coach, like, how did you manage that in terms of keeping everyone mentally stable in terms of that adversity?
To say we were all mentally stable might not be the truth, but you know what? As challenging as it was, I was very proud of the 6 players that played in the CAA tournament. They competed. They expected to win. They gave the College of Charleston everything they could handle, and so that was a really, really strong foundation for the 5 kids returning this year because they've been battle tested. There is nothing that's going to be as difficult or as challenging as the last month and a half of last year, and a lot of things out of our control. You know, concussion and an injury here, and so I think though. It was a great learning experience for all of us. To say we were all stable and sane throughout it all would not be a fact, but to say that we weathered the storm together and we're going to be stronger and better for it this year would be a fact.
And Amber, how did that adversity fuel you and your teammates for the upcoming season?
It fueled us a lot because now we feel like we've been through a lot, and we feel like we're the big kids on the block. So we've been through a lot of things that other teams haven't, and we've been building that chemistry to just be able to be that team where everybody's like, okay, they're older, and just use it as adversity and use it as something that makes us better. So
right. And Coach, this year depth is not an issue for you in
That's
terms
right.
of numbers.
That's
you
right.
have 5 new transfers and 4 freshmen. How has that process been for your team in terms of getting them up to speed with expectations?
Yeah, well, 2 of the transfers were kids that sat out last year.
Right.
Okay, so they watched on the side. sideline while we did play with 6 players and sometimes 7 or 5, and like, I can't wait. I wish I could do something more to help. So they're hungry. They're ready to go. The chemistry with their other teammates is a non-factor because they've been around long enough now. I think in our practices, those 2 kids that sat out last year, there's not really a gap in how well they play with the other kids. The other 3 junior college transfers got here in June, the end of June. I think the summer school was a valuable time to build chemistry, not a lot of pressure on anybody. We're just here to kind of have fun, work out, get acclimated to Wilmington. I think that transition has been smooth, and because there's 3 of them and 2 of them are twins, so like, you know, they're already best friends. Right. It's been smoother than I would have thought, and they're fitting in well. And then the freshmen have an opportunity to help contribute early in their careers. I think that's always a positive when young kids feel like, you know, I can help this team be better. I think it's been good up to this point. We'll see, you know, through the month of November how we put it together on game day, but I think from practices it's been good.
Nice. And Amber, I see you sitting here nodding in agreement with your coach in terms of the freshmen. Yeah. And what have you seen in them that makes you stamp her statement with that?
Well, I would say our freshmen are tough. Like, they bring a lot to the team. They're great listeners. They're willing to learn. That's always good when you're, as a senior, you know, they want to look at somebody and say, you know, who do I listen to? And just having somebody to follow. It's always good. You know, it's always good to have followers. So they're going to bring a lot to our team. Definitely, we need them just as much as we need everybody else.
And as a senior leader, not just on the court, academically, the last 2 seasons you've received all academic team honors. What have you discussed with these freshmen and new players to the program about the importance of being a well-rounded young woman?
I've just let them know that it takes hard work. You know, you lose a lot of sleep, you do it, you know, but it's all worth it in the end. You know, it's good to be able to have, you know, basketball accolades, but it's also good to back it up with academic accolades because, you know, basketball is going to stop one day. I always try to keep that in mind and allow that to push me when I'm up at 3 a.m. and things like that. So.
Oh, that's beautiful. Chills from that because it's so true. And Coach, moving forward to this season, in terms of your non-conference play, you have Providence, NC State, and Tennessee. Yeah. How do you see those games in the non-conference helping bolster confidence moving forward into the CAA portion of the season?
Yeah, well, we have a, I think, really, really competitive non-conference schedule. We play a few Atlantic 10 conference schools, one Big East school, obviously, and then you got the ACC and SEC schools. I think it's a nice balance for us to see where we are, you know, at East Carolina early in the year, at Davidson. Very, very good wins. Yes. We can go on the road and beat them there. They're very quality wins. And also we finish up, obviously, on Pat Summitt Court to finish out the 2016 year. And I'm very excited about that. I'm going to take the kids to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. We're going to get a nice education on who Pat Summitt really was. I think we think we know, but they have no clue how she was such a pioneer in our game. So we're going to use that. And then we go to the newly renovated Reynolds Coliseum down at NC State. And I'm going to talk a little bit about KYAL while we're down there. So two great opponents to go on their home courts and see where we are. I think our kids will be excited for the challenge.
And what kind of confidence and reverence does that give you for your coach to teach you about the history of women's basketball?
It's great because a lot of times, you know, when you're just playing, you're not really, you know, like she said, you know who Pat Summitt is. Everybody wanted to go to Tennessee just because Pat Summitt. But after her passing, and you hear all the stories and all the quotes and how passionate her players were, I think it's going to really build something in us and help us understand, like, this is why we play. So.
And how has Coach Harris impacted you in that manner?
Great. Coach has always supported me in everything. Like, if I ever have a problem with school or anything, she's always been somebody that has understood what I needed, and always been somebody to try to just help balance me out because, you know, I get, like, flustered and things like that. So it's been great.
Well, you were that Energizer Bunny at Wake Forest, and your play has transferred in terms of the passion to the sidelines as a coach. What does it mean for you to be not only a head coach, but a mentor and a life teacher for these young ladies?
Oh yeah, there's no question. That is the most important job. And part of my mission, you know, you can't always go back and pay back the people who did so much for you. And every athlete understands this. Every coach understands, every adult understands this. I have to pay it forward. So many have done so much for me that I would spend a lifetime trying to pay it all back. So it's very important that we graduate our young women with the ability to transform their communities, the world, and their families beyond. And it's not just a basketball thing. It is it's being a confident, strong woman that can go out into this world and blow people away and be extraordinary. So that's the mission.
Oh, well, I'm inspired just sitting here listening to both of you. I'm looking forward to watching you on the sidelines and watching you on the court do your thing this season in
Perfect.
the CAA.
Thank you, Christy.
Thank you. We're going to toss it on over to Al, who is with the Delaware men's